Um, I'll just list off like a few, I guess, like useful facts to know about Georgia. So it's a population of about 3 million people. 1.5 million of those live in the main city, which is called Tbilisi. Tbilisi has like a sort of European feel to it, but Georgia geographically is located east of Turkey and south of Russia, and it's sort of the final country that can claim itself within Europe. Anything more to the east, you're talking like Middle East countries, and further over than that is Asia. So Tbilisi is like right in the middle of Asia and Europe. Other than that, it has a very, very unique language. So they speak Georgian here, and it has its own unique alphabet. And it's very, very rich history in Georgia, especially for such a small country. It's very, very interesting history. And I think it's because tactically it's in quite a tactical, like geographical location where a lot of countries have to travel through it to trade goods to each other. It's been invaded quite a few times, even to this day. 20% of the country is occupied by Russia. This has actually been recorded on the Top Gear, not the Grand Tour, the new Top Gear program. They actually did a road trip through Georgia, and they saw the border, and it's known that the Russians police or army actually moved this overnight. They're constantly essentially invading the country. They're occupying the territory. And they documented a story of a farmer who one day woke up and he was in Russia, and they won't let him back over. The Russians wouldn't let him back over, and he said if he tried, they would shoot him. So it's really quite sad. There are like the thing to realize as well is Georgia is a developing country, and I think if you were going to live here, you sort of there are some things you have to accept. That especially if you're going, for example, I grew up in London for like 21 years, it is not going to be anything like London in both positive and negative ways. So to give you an example of some of like the positives, the things that I really like, very, very friendly towards small businesses. You can, as a foreigner, you can walk in and you can register a company and it will be set up for you the next day. All you need is your passport. It's going to cost you $50. Banking system here, personal banking system, sorry, is great. Business banking, not so good, even though they're with the same bank. It's just that there's a real difference in the level of quality that you get between personal and business banking. Personal is fantastic. You can walk in, you will have a personal bank account, also you'll have it set up within 30 minutes, you can go there with your passport. Georgia is great because you will pay 0% tax on foreign income. It's completely legal, very, very smart move by the government. I'll just explain why quickly. I used to work on for two reasons actually. I used to work on a project within the EU. It was like a sort of EU incubator where they would invest in startups. And the reason that they were doing this is because there's a very large investment culture in the US for investment firms to invest in startups. And there are a lot of great startups that come out of Europe. Berlin, tech capital, London, when it was part of the EU anyway, was of course a lot of great startups coming out of there. Amsterdam, Estonia has some great companies as well. Lithuania is now becoming like a fintech capital, Vilnius is. So there are a lot of great startups that do come out of Europe, but there's just not such a big investment culture here. So often they would get investment from American companies, American investment firms, and they would be forced, they would be required to make another US entity to reincorporate their business in the US, often in Delaware or something like that, so that the investment company had more control over their money, and it could also be for tax reasons in the US. I'm not quite sure of the specifics, but it was pretty much a requirement. If they were going to take investment from the US, they would have to reincorporate within the US. And what happened is all of these great startups were coming out of the EU, but then because as soon as they started to get some traction, they were reincorporating in the US. The EU was missing out on all of the taxes that they thought they would make, and the US economy was booming because they were just bringing all of these sort of unicorns, like successful startups coming out of Europe, and the US was benefiting from the taxes that they were paying. And it was costing the EU a lot of money, so they actually decided to set up their own digital incubator to combat this problem. And a second reason on top of that, so by Georgia making it very friendly towards startups and offering 0% tax on foreign income, it can't be beaten in the US. Like in the US, you're going to be paying taxes on your income. So it encourages businesses to, number one, to incorporate here. It encourages people like me, foreign entrepreneurs, to register my companies here. And I will hire staff, I will pay taxes on goods I purchase within Georgia. Remember, it's only tax on foreign income, which just helps to push the economy forward. In my opinion, it is a great, great move. Another benefit of that is something when I used to work on a project in the UK, something government related. I was told by quite a senior individual that for the UK government to bring in, for example, €1 into the British economy. So if I'm a business and I'm selling to Europe and bringing in money out of a different country and into the UK, into the British economy, it's worth 3 times more to the UK economy than if I was just to sell locally. Because technically, if I'm just selling within the same country I'm in, I'm just recycling money that already exists in that current economy. Whereas if you're selling to internationally and you're bringing money from a foreign country into the country that you're in, it is very, very beneficial for the economy here because you're bringing new money into the system. That is why it's very, very smart, in my opinion, for Georgia to not tax you on foreign income, because it really encourages you to bring new, of course it encourages you to incorporate your business here, and you will just be bringing in foreign income, money from other countries into the Georgian economy, which strengthens the Georgian economy. Very, very clever